Hello everyone, and once again welcome back to Dungeons & Dragons The Second Age. How are we all doing?
Doing good.
Pretty
Oh
good.
my god.
I don't know why I said it like that.
Yep, that was excitable. I'm glad we're all keen to play this game once again. But this time with a twist, with a special guest.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah.
They're like,
I feel like I caught you in the middle of drinking something there.
No, I was just. I thought you were going to continue, so I didn't say anything.
It's fine.
Yep.
So, without further ado, does anyone want to recap us on exactly what happened the last time we played this game?
Well, the last time we played this game, we were all like, Jesus Christ, we just got attacked by a dragon. So there we were sitting in the woods, or like, did that really just happen? And yeah, it kind of did. So then we basically decided, right, well, we're not going through the dragon's territory, it'll probably just go for us again. So we went all the way south to the mountain range to painstakingly not walk through the dragon's territory, and managed to go all the way around and successfully make it to Ivywood Market, where there was an intervention, basically. Elizabeth got a very stern talking to about
And I
the
still feel
dangers
like
of...
she learned nothing.
Hey, it's too early to say. Fuck you.
Well, you say that.
I feel like that just proved the point, though.
Yeah.
Hey, this is me talking, not Elizabeth. I am not Elizabeth. So yeah, Elizabeth got a very stern talking to about not provoking enemies and being overconfident and a little shit. And so then we all sort of went, right, how the fuck are we going to deal with this dragon? Because there's a dragon now and we can't just leave it there, it's right outside our front door. Also, it's going to start causing serious problems if it's left
I
unattended.
was like, also, it's a danger to people. Can we not
Yeah.
forget about that part?
Yeah, let's not forget about the part of it's a dragon. It's a big green dragon. So we're like, how do we deal with this? And of course, we still have to deal with the problem of the crown. So we've got a lot on our plate right now. And we figured, hey, you know who could totally help us with some awesome dragon butt-kicking gear? A friend who we should totally pay a visit to because we just helped her buddy. And coincidentally, she's quite on the way. We can drop off at the... Oh, thank you for that.
Oh boy.
And coincidentally, we can potentially drop off along the way at one of the great places for tinkering, Ardenstar. And maybe they can make us something that we can secure our dangerous artifact in. So that's the plan. Be prepared to set out,
Yes.
and we're gonna do that. We're going east again.
Yes. So, with plans fabricated and potentials for spells in hand, you guys have decided to head off to meet up with some allies and gain some new strength, as well as taking a brief detour to secure your latest seizure in dangerous artifacts. The road to Ardenstar is quite a long one, but for seasoned adventurers travelling in a tightly knit group with a decent amount of hurriedness about you, the journey to Ardenstar takes you probably the better part of a few weeks.
Oof.
In the time that it takes you to arrive in Ardenstar, the thick of winter begins to descend upon you. Much to the confusion of Kelariis and the delight of Elizabeth.
Yay!
A few weeks into your travel, the snows begin to fall, and travelling along the roads becomes a little more treacherous as snow and ice impede your progress in places.
Can I throw a snowball at Kelariis now?
You can.
But
Yay.
I am extremely confused.
Don't
See,
worry,
you
it's
have
just pleasant sand, remember?
That's what you do.
No.
You have snowball fights because it sticks, and you can make little forts.
I'm starting to understand the. That's not the way. That's not the way to speak as Kelariis. Sorry. I'm starting to understand less and less the comparison to pleasant sand that you've given me.
Yeah, I don't know. Just ignore the pleasant sand thing. It was dumb.
It's no,
It's
Well-
far more fun than sand because even if like sand, it gets in your shoes or like in any other rolling places, it melts because it's snow.
But then it just gets wet and soggy.
Yeah, but I'd rather that than have itchy, annoying sand everywhere.
I mean, you get used to it after a while, but yeah, that is fair.
in hindsight, they should probably have compared it to melting mud.
Kelariis just, Kelariis just gives you this look of like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I think. No, I think we should just stick to saying
Oh.
snow is snow, mud is mud, and sand is sand, and they're not really alike in any way.
I think honestly the thing that
Yeah,
confuses
but-
Kelariis the most is the fact that it melts so quickly when it lands on people, for example, but like not necessarily always on the ground because I don't think she understands quite like why that's different, even though like it does make sense.
Yeah. Well, that's because people are warm. Like, even though we feel cold, we're like warm.
I mean, yes, I'm
'Cause-
familiar with the concept of being warm, but it doesn't make it any less weird to see happen.
True. That just means you can catch the snowflakes on your tongue. At which point Elizabeth will probably proceed to try and do that.
Let's
I
go.
think Kelariis probably eats shit at least once on snow or ice
Yep.
that is tightly. I'm just gonna put that out there because
Yeah.
that's a very yeah.
Make a dexterity save. Against
No,
the ice.
no. I fully commit to the fact that she probably eats shit completely and like hits the ground.
Yeah.
That is not something you can prepare for, never having been around snow before.
No, probably not.
Probably happened many times though.
To be fair, the only way it is like sand is that it has its ups and it has its upsides and its downsides. Yeah, you can make little snow people and have snowball fights and build little snow forts and have fun, but yeah, it's slippy. And it's really awkward to walk through deep bits.
Admittedly, last time didn't stick.
Right. So this is going to just be a thing now.
Yeah, probably. And chances are it might get thicker because we're going to be heading north. A lot. So be prepared for snow drifts that might, get deeper than just your ankle.
But we'll
Because
get
also,
there when
unlike
we
sand,
get
you
there.
will slightly fall into it.
You'll see when we get there, or well, when it happens.
Alright then. I mean, I can't say that I dislike it. It's just very new.
So, as you continue your travels northward in the now slightly more difficult conditions, you eventually, after your travels take you around past the river crossing town of Trappers Crossing, and past the... Ooh, I've made the token bigger by accident. Past the great mountains beneath which the dwarven city of Hearth resides, up through the small, snowy, pleasant town of Everwick, and finally into the city of Ardenstar, where, as you step into inside the walls of the city, it is an impressive sight of construction, both human stone-built human architecture combined with almost a mimicry of the great spires of the elves, but much more thickly constructed. Alongside squat gnomish and dwarvish buildings, and the whole city is covered in a thin blanket of snow that has been mostly cleared from the streets by hard-working caretakers of the city. After a short detour led around by Grim, the four of you find yourselves in front of a small tavern. I say small tavern, it seems to span several floors, and takes up a fairly high pride of place in the in one of the fairly major streets in the city. And a sign out the front identifies this as the Adventurer's Rest, Food, Drink and Lodgings, under which a small sign reads, incorporating emeries, salves and supplies, under which again is a slightly smaller sign that says, shoe repairs also available.
Oh my, sure.
I mean, Elizabeth will probably just like do like the, and be like, "Wow, talk about jack of all trades."
Yes. They've got many skills, the old folk. But it's cold outside. Shall we head in?
Yes.
Okay. So as you head up to the place with leading your horses in tow, a small, bright-looking dwarvish girl gives you a big beam and sort of says, guests, pleasure to see you all. Please, this way, and sort of leads you and your animals off to a small side stable where you tether up your horses. It's at this point, Grim, you notice a very elderly but very familiar face. Standing in one of the stalls of the small side stable is a very old donkey, whom you recognise. This is the archaic family donkey that you've had. Probably ever since like you have memories of helping your parents out at this tavern. It's nowhere near as old as you are, but it is quite long lived. This is Boro.
Oh no.
He recognizes you on sight and immediately sidles up to the side of the stall and expects to be fed.
I'll have a quick look around, see if I can fetch anything.
Yeah, it's where it always is.
Good. Hey there, little fella. Probably like twice my size anyway.
Yep. Sort of leans down and like leisurely sort of like eats oat out of your hands.
Yeah. Well, won't be around for long, but might be I might stick around for a few days.
That's probably
See?
the cutest thing I've ever seen Grim do, or will ever see Grim do.
Just ignore that one. It's
Just ignore it.
No, saving that
Ruining
memory.
the image.
Grim is just
saving that
talking
memory in my
entirely
brain
to this
forever.
donkey now.
Yep.
I am saving this in my brain forever.
Well, we gotta get going, and then I'll just give one last pat, and
Mhm.
and yeah, I assume the oats will be kind of devoured by now.
Yeah. So yeah, you. Oh, that's really loud. You make your way inside into the busy interior space of the Adventurer's Rest, where after basically a few moments of sort of wading through the crowd, you manage to make it to the long bar that runs across the center of the main hall, where standing, basically almost, I guess he is standing on top of the bar, is a weathered-looking gnome in a leather apron and a shirt and waistcoat, who is running around pouring drinks, handing out things out to people, and generally seems to be doing about 8 different things at once. Presently, he seems to be serving a large group of humans who seem to be dressed in a similar manner to yourselves, most of them wearing leather or chain armor and carrying weapons. They seem to also be another adventuring party of sorts who are travelling through. But the moment he dismisses this other group of people, he beckons to those of you who appear above the rest of the crowd, and sort of says, "Yeah, please, next, please."
Well, no, I'll just guess we'll just walk in as if we're guests.
Yeah.
Well, we are guests.
Yeah, but
he sort of he beckons you over, grabs away a couple of glasses and puts them up on a side where they're quickly whisked away by another gnome. Looks down at the group of you and says, "Right, so what'll it be? Food, lodgings, drinks?" And at that moment, he happens to look down and catch a sight of you, Grim, and says, "Well, Quagrim, my boy."
Ops.
My god!
So,
Oh my god!
I see things that are going well around here.
Yeah, I have to admit I wasn't expecting to see you around so soon, but yeah, things are going well as ever.
Well, now that we're here anyway, could you? Well, I guess we could use some lodging. If
Of course.
we got the room.
These are your companions, yeah. Well,
Yes.
I made your promise last time.
Oof, yeah, it's a while back already. But yeah, let me introduce you to them. So we got the big one, Kelariis.
What? Wow.
Look,
You're
it's
6'3".
He sort of squints up at you and says, "Oh yeah, that's an apt description." Sort of sticks out a pudgy arm to shake your hand.
Yeah, I'll shake. It's
Ugh.
good to meet you.
Good firm handshake.
I just grin.
and then there's the blue one called Elizabeth.
Hello.
Pleasure.
And then there's the elf, Arya.
Elf. Yeah, I just walk forward and shake their hand.
Well. You're welcome in the Daemaris household here.
Oh, great.
How do you know Grim?
How do I know
Oh,
Grim?
Has it really taken you this long to figure it out?
No, I'm as Arya. It's
Yeah.
taken me this long to figure it out.
Yeah.
How good.
No, yeah, that was in character.
Yeah. Well,
How well do I know the fruit of my loins, do you think?
Oh my god.
Arya looks shook.
I just pat Arya on the shoulder, it's okay.
yeah. Don't call them pops for nothing.
Aye, not very often either. Well, yes, if you're here, well, I'm rushed off my feet. I don't know if you can tell, but
yes.
go upstairs. Your mother's keen to see you. Emery's upstairs.
We'll be sure to stop by. Yes. You know what? I'll leave you. I'll just leave you to it, and I'll go say hi to Mom.
yeah, the you are chivied away from the bar by the next group of adventurers who want to get in and sort things out. But yeah, Grim takes the rest of you upstairs to a long hallway filled with what looks like guest rooms, where at the end there's a sort of like an open lounge that reads that there's a small sign above the sort of like the entryway to the door that says Emerald salves and supplies. Grim, you sort of step into the small like living area, and sitting in a chair, as readily as you ever remember, is Emerald, Mrs. Daemaris.
I guess I'll just walk up till she notices.
At the moment, she's sort of like squinting, looking down at like a small like pestle and mortar, and going through some stuff. Looks up, sort of like bleary-eyed, puts on some glasses, and then recognizes you and says, "Oh, my boy, give me a hug."
Come here. And then I'll just
Jumps down from her chair and gives you a big hug. Well, I see you brought some friends.
Yes, like like working in the business, you make some friends along the way.
It's lovely of you to drop by and bring them along.
Yeah, never hurts bring some extra business in, right?
Never hurts. Sound just like your father.
It's fine. But yeah, so how have things been around here?
Oh, it's good. Yeah, we're doing all right.
So Pops is busy downstairs.
Oh yes, busy as ever.
Yeah. But so how things are going? So how are things going for you?
Yeah, I've started up my little side venture. It's not too much call for it when there's very few adventurers on the road, but yes, occasionally some of them come in with bumps and bruises, and I help out where I can.
Good. Well, I've got good news and bad news, because there might be a lot more adventurers passing through, but I'm not sure they're going to be bruised by the time they get here.
All right.
Sounds
rather foreboding.
It's because there's a dragon that's popped up, so supposed to keep it a little bit on the down low, but got that inside information. So I'm sure like adventurers from all across the lands will want to prove themselves.
She sort of leans in and like taps the side of her nose and gives you a big wink and says, "Ah, yeah, dragon, sure it is."
You know what? We'll just call it a dragon for now.
I suppose you and your friends are here to slay the mighty dragon, then. I suppose.
You'd be surprised. We're actually not even here to slay a dragon. We're here to get a safe. I don't know if you've heard of one of those.
A safe? Yeah, I've heard of them.
It's a nifty device. It's like it basically does what it says. Keeps things safe.
Yeah, sounds like typical Gnomish naming.
Yeah. Man, if only they could do that for more stuff. Oh well. But yeah. So, and then we're also we'll be passing through for a bit, and then we might be back later. So we're also heading up to meet an old friend.
Oh, that's lovely. Well, it was jolly nice of you to pop in and visit your old mom.
Yes, of course. So I couldn't skip out, now could I? Rarely get up around these parts.
Oh. So safe. Where are you getting one of them things from?
See, that's what we're gonna find out. That's gonna be our little adventure.
Oh.
But I'm kind of thought you might have heard something. Maybe know someone who's a bit of a tinkerer.
Well, if you want tinkerers, go and ask Izzy. I think she knows best. She hangs around with that sort of lot.
Oh, will do. Before I forget, probably want to know who these strangers are that I brought
I
along
was
with
wondering
me.
if you were going to introduce them.
Well, do you care to introduce yourself?
Oh, hello. I'm
Sort of-
Elizabeth.
Adjusts her spectacles and sort of squints up at you.
Yes.
Ah.
This is like, hi.
Eh. I've seen one like you before.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Yeah. One of them come through here. Not blue like you, green one.
Oh, ooh.
Yeah.
I had to come in all shades nowadays.
Funny fella. Hair whipping around all over the place all the time, even inside. Very strange. No offense, of course, dearie.
I mean, yeah, because Elizabeth presumably then, like, looked down at her robes, which she knows kind of tussle in the wind, even though she's indoors, and is like, yeah. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, didn't mean no offense by that. Just, well, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you. You're fine.
So who are
It
these
is-
others
it is
then?
weird.
No.
I'll just look. Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I'm Kelariis. Pleasure to meet you. Just kind of like
Oh.
hold out a hand, I guess.
Sort of, she has to sort of like reach up and sort of like grasp hold of it.
Yeah.
It's not quite on the same level.
Yeah, I will. Oh God! I just realized what I have. I was gonna say I was gonna try to like reach down a little farther to make it less awkward, but I was like, this is just the worst situation. Is
Yeah.
what I'm doing here.
Sort of like clasps onto your hand and says, "Ah, you look like a strong lass."
I've done my best.
Big, beefy dragon arms.
Luka. Every time.
Luka,
Every
please
time.
chill.
Ugh.
Oh.
Turns out Luka's gay for big beefy dragon arms.
Turns out. Who knew?
Who would have guessed after all these years?
After all these years. Oh my god.
Oh my God. Yeah.
She releases your grip and sort of turns and says, "Ah, and who's yon pale elf?"
My name is Arya Tallithsyr. It's nice to meet you.
Oh,
Just shake your hands.
Tallithsyr. That name sounds. Have I heard that before?
I would be surprised if you did. My family lives in the Feywild.
Oh. Well, perhaps not the same ones then.
What? Do you remember where you heard that name?
Oh, memory's going a bit of my old age, but had quite a few elves come and go these parts. Mostly up from the monastery, but Tallithsyr, it was T something. Well, I won't keep you.
I guess we'll return that favor. So where would I find Izzy?
She's probably in the back room. She's helping me out, with her degree.
Yeah. Sure that will.
She sort of turns to the rest of you and says, "Ha, every Daemaris got a degree,
Oh.
Ah, yes. Quagrim here. Military strategy. My daughter, Izzy, she's a chemist.
A chemist. Wow.
That sounds really cool.
Very proud.
Luckily, things don't blow up as often as stories go.
Oh.
No, only a few small ones.
I feel like a few small ones is already a little risky, but she knows what she's doing.
I mean, small ones is okay because they're small.
Well, but yes, we'll head down to Izzy and
So
Unless
yeah,
you can catch her.
yeah. You head into the back room, which has changed surprisingly since you last saw it. There's a lot less sort of keg storage space. Everything seems to be like jammed in up to the rafters, and half of it has been taken over by like a wooden partition with a rickety looking door that's been put in. Definitely your dad's handiwork.
Oh, guess we better knock on the door.
You
It's very squashed in here.
the rap at the door sort of draws a. What is it? I'm working.
Yeah, so am I. But
The door is yanked open as a gnome sort of maybe only a few inches shorter than Grim, with like a shock of blonde hair and thick tinkerer's spectacles, pulls wrenches the door open and goes, "You little shit."
Okay. Much like me,
stand there and smile.
Elizabeth just bursts out laughing.
What the hell are you doing sneaking up on me like this?
Somebody's gonna check up on you.
Check up on me, Fi. Should be checking up on you. Surprised you're not dead yet.
I've not found anything strong enough. But no.
I like
Besides,
you already.
Besides, I got these fellas to help me out.
Aye.
Well, we got the Dragonborn, Kelariis. We got the elf, Arya, and we got the blue one. Actually, I just realized I've never asked you what you really are.
I'm a Ganassi. I could have sworn I told you. Maybe I didn't. I could have forgotten. That's entirely possible.
He probably forgot.
That's fine.
I mean, honestly, for a scholar, I've got a pretty bad memory, so I also could have just forgot to tell him.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you all. I'm Isabella, in case he forgets.
No, we're just stopping by, and Mom said you might know something about where we could get ourselves a safe.
Safe?
Yes. I don't know if you've heard of the thing.
Surprised you've got enough money to keep in a safe.
Yeah, well, it's not so much money as other stuff. Gotta keep things safe at the guild. Got our what's it called? Our keep now. Like stone walls and everything.
She turns to the other ones and goes, "Is it a hut?"
It's not a hut. It's got actual wooden walls and stone buildings, but it's not like, a big castle keep.
It is the start.
It's a wooden wall and 3 stone buildings, but it's getting there.
One day we'll have a castle.
Lucas, you're so set on this castle.
I want a castle.
Do you want a castle for the sake of having a castle, or do you want a castle so we can hold a grand ball in it?
Arya would not be into balls, but...
I know, that's why I'm asking you, Luka.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there you go.
Izzy smirks and sort of says, "Aye. Well, you want a safe? You want to buy one, or you want a custom one?"
Unfortunately, due to what we're gonna have to put in it, we might need a custom one, but I don't know what what they sell them as.
Oh well, it's not gonna be cheap, but I know a guy.
Just prepackaged castles.
Not castles, a safe.
Oh yeah, sorry. Still a
sake,
castle
Luka, please.
on a whole different conversation.
Oh.
Luka, is your head screwed on properly?
No.
Yeah, she says it'll cost you and take a while to put it together, but yeah, I know a guy.
Well, that'll just be an excuse to come back. I won't it?
Yeah. And we have other reasons to be traveling east anyway, so we've got something to do while we wait.
But yeah. So if you know a guy, it would be great if you could hook us up.
5 minutes. I'll
Right.
just finish up what I'm doing. You can give me a hand, actually.
Hmm. You know what? I'll give it a go. What's the worst that can happen?
Well, I don't need to do much. I just need a keen eye and a steady hand.
Ah, yes. I should be able to do that.
Okay. You disappear into the interior. Do the rest of you follow?
I mean, I want to see what she's doing.
Okay. You
Yeah,
step
show us.
inside and it's everything you'd imagine in an alchemist's workshop, except it's put up on basically DIY shelvings made out of barrel kegs, or like barrel stands and kegs. Elizabeth, for somebody who's had sort of like a brief formal education in the arts of such things, half of this stuff looks like there's like open flames way too close to things that there shouldn't be. But yeah, it's a functioning laboratory in the back of a tavern.
I mean, if that's a thing, Elizabeth will probably point to something to one of these instances and go, "Is that safe?"
Safe enough.
Has it blown up yet? Has it?
Nah. Well, maybe once. Just like takes the open flame and moves it like 2 inches to the left.
Oh well. So what are you brewing anyways?
Well, at the moment, disinfectant.
Ooh,
Yes,
there's always
more
always a
popular
need
than you
for
might
it.
think.
Well, I imagine we burn for quite a bit
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah, well, some of it goes into Mom's business, some of it goes into cleaning Dad's floor. Just,
Oh,
I'm gonna pour this in. Stay still, and if it gets on you, can't believe I have to say this, but don't lick it. Just whatever you do, don't lick it.
I'll
lick
manage.
it.
Danger with Grim.
Believe it or not, that's how I lost my last assistant.
Hmm.
He's not dead, mind you. He's just very, very sick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'll keep my tongue to myself.
Wow,
Wow,
that's a quote.
that is definitely a quote.
So quote it.
Okay. Grim, can you make me a sleight of hand check, please?
Well, I'll try.
Oh yeah, I'm sure
I
this
think
will go
that's
well.
I think that's the real problem. Let's see, sleight of hand. Normal. There we go.
Nice.
Oh wow.
Very nice.
So, Grim, you stand very still holding this large bulbous jar as your sister takes a number of things and pours them very slowly at the same time into this jar. It begins to hiss and fizz. And you have to kind of, like, sort of move your fingers ever so slightly away from the glass as the glass starts to get a little bit hot. But you manage to hold your grip steady, and she doesn't pour any on you. She says, right, well, just set that down over there, and that ought to do it.
Ah, good.
Right, well,
That was cool.
this friend of
So-
mine...
Yep.
Do you know how big you need this thing?
I can probably yeah, I have a rough idea maybe.
Okay,
Like we can I can figure it out if I need to.
he's a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to, getting things the right size. So, just make sure you get it the right size the first time, because he will throw no end of a tantrum if it's not.
Well,
Oh, it's
yeah,
okay. The way you do that is you ask for something slightly bigger than you think you need.
but you see, that's not the right size. That's too big.
Yeah, but if it's too big, it's better than it being too small.
Yeah.
Not for a perfectionist.
True.
We'll make something up. But yeah, I'm sure we can work with it, or with them.
Okay.
Um,
So, Izzy takes you on a...
assume we're gonna be sent off, kind of to there. But before we leave, have you ever considered brewing something else? Not talking anything illegal, but something more exciting.
I'm glad you have specified that. What exactly are you thinking?
Well, you're a chemist or alchemist. You surely you have some interesting recipes you want to try. But I imagine it can't. Like some of these might require some expensive ingredients, and
Yeah,
it might be.
I tend not to dabble outside of, well, the usual stuff, because, I mean, components are expensive, and there's generally not much call for anything other than disinfectants, salves, healing bombs, that sort of thing.
Yes. But what if we could make perhaps I could buy some off of you if you made some more interesting stuff.
Hey, wait, Graham, didn't you have didn't you buy a thing recently that required alchemical stuff? That flare thingy.
Oh yes. Oh, but most of the stuff is she was messing with that, but it wouldn't hurt to leave one behind here.
Well, I'll tell you,
See, we,
if you
get more made.
if you want something made, I'll give it a shot. Just, you're gonna have to cover my float.
oh, don't worry about that. Just wondering if you're interested, but I'll get back to you on that one.
Sure, just leave me a list or something.
Yes, will do. But for now, we're gonna deal with a perfectionist.
Yeah, she leads you down a snowy back alley out the back of the back of the tavern, and leads you across a couple of side streets to behind another main walkway shop, where you are met by a very fidgety gnome who asks you a large number of questions concerning exactly how big and how many mechanisms this thing needs. For those of you who are not technically minded, you lose this conversation in like 2 minutes, as Grim and this other gnome just yammer away in technical speak at each other.
This is fine.
But after a bit of back and forth, Grim, this guy agrees to make you a safe. However, for such a bespoke project at such short notice, he wants 100 gold.
Well, there is one thing that I didn't mention. I don't think I've mentioned to you specifically, but we should probably mention. Gonna ask if we can get it lead lined on the to some degree, just to keep the magic out
That's
potentially.
Yes, he can do that. But yeah, he wants 100 gold for the whole thing.
Well, we can do 100 gold. I assume you want it all in do you want it all in advance, or how do we want to do this?
Yeah, he basically he scrutinizes it for a moment and says, I think upfront is best. I'm going to need to buy components, materials.
Oh, I'll trust you. If Izzy believes in you, I'll do so too.
If he doesn't do it, I'll kick his teeth in.
Wow.
Oh, I like her.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elizabeth's just gonna go, Graham, I really like your sister.
Don't worry about it. Let's see. Is platinum okay?
He raises an eyebrow at you.
Well.
I'll pull out 10 platinum pieces.
10 platinum pieces.
He takes one from you, licks it. Alright, it's real.
Yes. Like it's
We're so fucking
From
bougie.
tasting it?
just gotta make sure it's not a chocolate coin.
That wouldn't help you. You'd just be looking like metallic foil. Although I suppose that would taste different to solid platinum.
I have a lot of questions about how he knows what platinum Never mind. Okay, you know what?
He-
It's fine.
Yeah. Look, this guy eats platinum, clearly.
He's a gnome. Don't ask.
Yeah.
It's fine.
You just gotta assume that a gnome knows these things.
But yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, you place your order.
Like oh yeah, we probably want to get it. We might as well bring it along on our way back if it's already ready, and otherwise we'll just arrange delivery.
Yeah, he sort of says, if you want delivery, it's going to cost you extra, but we can talk about that on your way back.
Well, like when we get back here, if it isn't ready, we'll deal with it then. But till then, yeah, I guess you have a fun project.
Sort of, he is already like beginning to like draw up plans, and sort of says, yes, it'll be ready when it's ready.
We'll leave you to it. So,
So,
yeah.
Objective 1, success.
Yes. Well, I guess that just that just leaves us this a trip to, well, not that we can do that this very day, but with a trip to Lithari. So,
Emperor.
well, thanks for that, Izzy.
You're welcome.
So, like, I know, mom and pops are always optimistic about most things, but they're doing all right, right?
Yeah, it's. I'm sure they won't mind you saying, but times have been a little difficult recently. It's a couple of unexpected expenditures, that sort of thing. Nothing major, just it's. I've been sort of chipping in to keep them afloat, but we're recovering. It's
Well,
been a
perhaps
bit lean.
Perhaps I can chip in a little too.
Yeah, I was
You
gonna say,
sure?
like rowdy adventurers aren't breaking tables, are they?
Well, you saw it, like we got a little lucky, and this platinum coins we gave that guy. It's because we found a few. We've got some more lying around.
Perhaps I did get into the wrong line of work.
Some more flying around.
I was gonna say that
Wow.
really depends on your definition of a few.
I don't want to brag about being rich. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, who are you and what have you done with Grim?
If
You know-
I'm rich, people want to take my money. No.
Actually,
I mean,
okay, no, that is
also,
still you.
to be fair to Grim, he's not tight with our money. He's careful with our money and counts our money, but doesn't go about being like, "Yo, here's some shit that we could just drop."
Yeah. She
True.
just says,
Fair.
well, if you think you can afford it, then I can make sure it makes it to the right place without mom and pop getting, well, you know how they are about charity.
Yes.
Self-made man and all.
Perhaps otherwise I think could you, because I was thinking about it, I know it ain't cheap, but could you potentially make healing potions, or would those require like magic or something?
Well, all sort of potions like that require some kind of magic, but it's not outside of my ability.
How about I order some of those from you, and I just slightly overpay you, and then somehow the money ends up in their hands, or some of you keep like you get to keep like a share, of course, but
She like rubs her chin ever so slightly and leaves like a faint, like greasy, dirty handprint on the bottom of her chin, and just sort of says, You know, that's kind of canon, Quagrim. I think that's a good idea.
We can do that. I'll be sure to cover the costs up front, of course, because don't want you to go into the hole in order to even start this thing.
It's very considerate of you.
Well, but let's head back and we'll talk like specifics.
Just one thing.
Yes,
If it gives you the shits, it ain't my fault.
Wow.
Wow.
it's always your fault. But we'll live with it.
Now I'm concerned. I wasn't concerned until that very moment.
Well, if you need a healing potion, the shits is not what you're worried about. But yeah.
That's a good point.
True.
But yeah, you guys conclude your business, spend an evening in the tavern, and I presume you are ready to head off after that.
Yes.
Okay. And so, a short travel later, takes you a couple of days to cross the long strip between Ardenstar and Emberoth. A long, straight road, clearly dwarven made, bridges the town and the city on the way to the port. Still packed with snow and ice, but much better taken care of than some of the roads heading through human cities. You notice since the last time you were around this way, Grim, there's a number of small villages have popped up on at regular intervals along this road that seem to offer vague sort of like trading posts for people to exchange goods and services at. But as the third day, the sun is already beginning to go down behind the hills, but it's only about 4 o'clock. In these short winter days, you arrive in the pleasant village of Emberoth.
Oh, I love it.
What a nice place.
Situated just astride the river on the other side of a bridge. You enter into the town proper underneath an arched gate. And as you do so, you enter like a small plaza with a number of caravan stalls set up. And as you browse around, sort of looking around this place, a particular sign catches your attention. With a motif of a small round bottle with a cloud emerging from the top. There is a small forge workshop named the Ever Smoking Bottle.
My money is on my money is that that's where we're headed. I kind of like looking at Grim and Arya in particular because
You remember
We've
your
seen that.
encounter, yes.
Yep. That is that's definitely a bottle. Oof. I'm still not sure if that was an improvement or not, but we made it through it.
yeah, I mean
Oof.
we've
Well, I certainly wouldn't bet against you for that money. That made sense in my head.
As you approach the building, this thing is basically it looks to be made up of basically one like a larger, almost like L-shaped building that is around like a large central fire pit that is in the middle of this complex, and there's a small building off to the back that seems to be some sort of storage facility.
Well, you guys should probably take the lead on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like we walk in,
Okay.
unless somebody's outside.
Um,
Yeah, I suppose. Where are you?
I think Lithari's probably outside working. She's probably outside working the forge. You can see she's probably over an anvil right now, just like very focused and like carefully working on something that you like. She's like hunched over the anvil and it's like carefully hammering away with like a very small hammer at something. She's got like her sleeves all the way rolled up and stuff, but she's still in her like gray robes that are probably a little bit dirty, but you know.
So yeah, you guys spot Lithari from across the courtyard as you're observing.
I mean, if she seems busy, should we maybe give her a moment, or?
Well, we probably shouldn't, like, shout at her. But
Well, I mean, yes, that was the intention. Was not to shout.
Yeah,
I'm sure we can.
Walk over at least.
Yeah, Lithari, as you sort of you pull away from the anvil for a second to like wipe the sweat from your brow, a small group of individuals is loitering in the distance, and as you sort of catch sight of them, they begin to approach. There are a number of individuals amongst the group that you recognise and are expecting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think she just immediately stands up and kind of like places the hammer and the little bit that she's working on down, and just kind of like begins like walking over and just says to them, "Oh, hello! It's wonderful to see you all again."
It's very nice to see you as well. It's been a while. See, you've been busy.
Yes, very busy. It's very nice to see you all again, but who is this young lady?
Hi, I'm Elizabeth.
Hello, I'm you. I think she kind of like takes a moment to just kind of like look over Elizabeth, kind of just like, scrunches up her face and just kind of like scrutinizes you a little bit.
Yeah, she's probably just like rambles a little bit. It's like, I'm Elizabeth Topaz Agiad. They very much told me the story many times, especially Von Dahl, mostly because I kept bugging him about it. Just like I bugged him about most of the stories of these guys, but I'm rambling. Whoops. I'll shut up now.
Lithari kind of laughs and she says, "That's fine. Don't worry about it. Where is that Von Dahl fellow, if I may ask?"
Oh,
He's back at the keep. He's
yeah, he kind of runs the show when Grim's not around. Because Grim's technically the boss, but someone's gonna stay behind and run the place.
Well, good for him. It's nice to see him settle down.
Good. So, have things been around here?
Good. A little bit. Things have been a little bit. There's been a tension in the air around Emberoth recently, but other than that, business has been steady. A lot of gnomes need a lot of parts.
Never enough parts.
What kind of tension?
Oh, it's nothing too much. Someone just stirring up some trouble. But I'm sure it'll pass. But that's nothing you should be so concerned about. It sounds like from the urgency of your message that you have bigger fish to fry.
Well, that sure is one way of putting it, yeah.
That's one hell of a fish.
Oh my god.
It's definitely
One hell of a
not a good fish.
It'd feed the fisherman for months, though.
I don't know if it would
Oh.
taste good, and also I don't really think you'd want to eat that.
I
Think
I've
if
heard
it were
of
any
bigger
other dragon.
things.
No, how about we just don't eat the dragons? That's actually a better idea.
Look, I'm not saying that we should eat the dragon. I'm just saying that if you were in a situation in which you felt compelled to eat the dragon, it would last for quite a long time.
I feel like the fish metaphor has got a little out of hand.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
fish metaphor
Yeah,
went
definitely.
too far 12 jokes ago.
That's the second age for you. We run our jokes into the ground.
And then some.
So how may I be of assistance?
Well, I guess we were kind of hoping you would, well, considering you've honed your craft for such a long time, we were hoping you'd be willing to assist us in creating some gear worthy of slaying a dragon.
Ooh, dragon slaying. How exciting.
Yeah.
A little bit of an escalation from strange creatures in the swamp, I must say.
Well, still a lot of poison involved, so
Well, I suppose some things never change.
yeah. Although some things I prefer to leave as they were. But yeah. No. I think did we? I don't know if you had any have had any ideas yet, because we weren't very clear as to what we were looking for.
Well, I'm sorry to say that I've actually retired from bladesmithing for the most part, but I suppose I could be convinced to take up that mantle again. For old friends, of course.
That would be much appreciated.
And she says, why don't you all come inside? It's a little bit cold out here. And yeah, she kind of picks up her hammer and her little the little brass piece that she was working on, and just kind of just walks to the door and opens it and heads inside.
Okay.
Yeah, let's follow after.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the inside, it's a very the inside of the of her house here is a little bit or cozy is probably the best word for it.
Yeah, it's on the modest side.
Yeah. It's like the inside is just like the main space of the L shape is just a big it's just not even a big, but just a living space. There's two beds in there, just a single table, a dresser, but also in and amongst all that, it's just a huge rack full of different smithing tools and stuff. And then kind of off to the side of the L, there's a small kitchen space there with counters and cupboards and dry hanging herbs and stuff like that. There's also a collection of very sharp looking knives. And yeah, as soon as she opens the door and walks in, a small kettle on the wood stove that she has in the kitchen just immediately starts whistling. Yeah, the other thing that you notice too is a bunch of brass piping covering the whole interior of the house, all the walls and the ceilings, just running crisscross, zigzagging all over the place. parts of it like leaking smoke and stuff. But otherwise, it looks fine. Yeah, she heads over towards the kitchen, and just kind of begins like preparing a pot of tea.
Of course.
Please make yourselves at home.
Oh yes, of course. Well, it's quite a nice place you have here.
Yeah, so it was Llewellyn's idea to set up a shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll admit it did take a little bit of convincing to settle down, but it's the easy life has been treating me well.
No more dungeon delving.
I must say, occasionally I'll consider it, but no.
A shame, really. But yes.
That's what I keep telling him.
Well, I'm sure you can still teach him a few things. Like maybe he'll change his opinion instead.
Yes, well, apprenticing is as much the master learning from the student as it is the other way around.
That's very true.
I never thought of that, but it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Lithari kind of like begins to carry over like a tray with like a teapot and a collection of cups, and she says, "So, Miss Elizabeth, how did you fall in with this ragtag group?"
Well, my family are all kind of. They're all very, like, very martially minded. So, like, it was just kind of normal that that eventually everyone had, like, split up and hunt for, like, a mercenary company or something. So that's kind of what I did. And, like, these guys were just starting out with their keep, and I thought I'd lend a hand. And yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It's all downhill from there. Well, uphill, then downhill, then uphill, then downhill, then uphill, then downhill. It's a ride.
Well, I'm sure you've been keeping them safe.
More the other way around.
Yeah. It's
God, I can't believe we're gonna immediately put Elizabeth on fucking blast.
you know what? She does her best. She does her best.
I don't have the experience that they have.
Well,
Like-
I'm sure you'll have plenty of time.
Yeah, well, yeah, because signing up with these guys is the first time I'd ever been away from home. So yeah, and that was
And
like
boy, it
and that
shows
was, like-
sometimes.
and that was like 6 months ago.
Oh
There's a
wow.
lot
Well,
of learning all around for everybody, is what we'll say.
yes. Well, I can certainly tell you that learning is a lifelong journey. So you have a lot to look forward to.
Not good.
Elizabeth probably then just like awkwardly like takes some tea, just like holding it in both hands. Just, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, like
Oh no.
Hold on,
Rip
Minnie.
Penny, I guess.
it's fine. I accidentally bumped into something, but don't worry about it. But as I asked that side, you wouldn't happen to have anything in mind that could help us with the dragon, could you? Would you?
Well, that a dragon. I suppose it depends what you're in the looking for. I suppose weapons.
Well, like armor would be great too, but I know you've mainly made weapons in the past, I believe.
Yes, bladesmithing has been my craft. I guess this is a question that I have out of character. How does would Lithari have been when Lithari makes swords, they're not magical in any way apart from Morion, right?
Yes. So everything you've ever made has been sort of it's masterwork quality, but it's very much mundane, except for Morion, because Morion seems to have some sort of innate magical property that you've been able to harness by tempering.
Mm-hmm. And the way and how that are magical items in this setting something that's are they enchanted a la Skyrim or stuff like that, or is it more a different thing?
Usually it tends to come from particularly the resource that they're made from. Obviously, more magical materials can hold stronger enchantments, but they are generally enchanters tend to be people who are skilled in both crafting an object and enchantment. But it isn't uncommon for an artifact to be the product of two creators, somebody skilled in the arcane aspect and somebody skilled in the physical creation aspect.
Okay, so it wouldn't be unreasonable to say that Lithari would have in her time had some of her swords enchanted.
Yeah, and almost certainly the mentors that taught you would have given you instruction in the practice of how to do it.
Okay.
So you have the relevant proficiencies, you just lack any magical ability.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. To the best of your knowledge, you'd need a powerful wizard to be able to assist you.
Okay.
Wizard say.
I have a couple of for armor. I am afraid I'm not the woman for that job, but weapons. I think I have a thing or two. I'll need some time, and I think she kind of. Is it fair to assume, looking at Elizabeth, that she has some sort of magical aptitude?
Give me either an insight or perception check.
Okay.
I mean, she's just dressed in a long, quite scholarly-looking robe.
Well, and then there's the wind blowing, which not necessarily because you're a wizard, but
yeah. And clothes tussle in the wind, even though there's no wind.
You can't tell immediately from examination that she is a wizard per se, but the fact that she adorns herself with trinkets and books, you could make the assumption that perhaps she has some magical aptitude.
All right. I think she says, "I'll need some time to prepare them, and the assistance of an arcane practitioner, but I could get something for you."
well, at least we got one part of that somewhat covered.
Well, I mean, yeah, we got time.
Oh, I was more. But I guess we also have time. But I was mainly referring to your capability. You surely can enchant something. I think you've enchanted people at least to some degree, Elizabeth.
I guess. I have read a lot of books on it. Obviously, not had a chance to actually do it yet.
Can you give me an Arcana check, Elizabeth?
Sure.
Okay, so yeah, you're familiar, like at least on a academic level, of the methods of enchanting tools. Generally, you need something of like sufficient quality, high quality materials. The only setback is you'd need a some form of magically fueled forge. Like a conventional forge is just not nearly enough. There's far too many imperfections in the material. You would need special like special premises to be able to do that.
Yeah. And as is typical of Elizabeth, she says all of that out loud because she thinks out loud. Especially if she's just been asked a question like that.
Well, I'm certain that won't be too much of an issue. I think she kind of stands up and kind of like walks over to like the area in between like the two beds, and kind of just like kicks off like a little like carpet, like rug that's kind of like just thrown in between there, and she just kind of like stomps twice on the floor there, and kind of just like waits a couple moments, and like nothing happens, and she says, "Oh, come on, okay," and like stomps twice again, and just like, "Don't have to be so difficult." And just kind of like muttering to herself, and kind of like gets down on the ground, and eventually you see like the pipes around the room kind of just like cough out like a puff of smoke, and then you hear some like gears turning underneath the floor, as this like secret hatch just kind of opens in the floor.
Wow.
I am a fan of secret hatches.
I figured
Well,
you...
well, the at least the full of surprises description of you was accurate.
Oh, I don't think you've seen quite all you're going to. And she heads down.
I imagine the rest of you accompany.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 So as you descend, the immediate thing that you notice is that the workplace upstairs was warm. It's a forge, so it's relatively warm within the house. As you go down here, it gets the air begins to become like almost slightly dry, and it is very, very warm down here. The network of pipe seems to continue down here to a certain extent, like twisting and turning above each other and leading to various different places. You follow Lithari for a short distance. I think it's only a short distance.
Yeah, I think it's just a ladder. Like the basement is just kind of like underneath everything.
Yeah. And yeah, almost quite similar to when you encountered it in the middle of the swamp. You come down into a large stone chamber crisscrossing with pipes, with a large brass forge that takes up a large portion of one of the walls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's like when you get down here, it's like pretty dark. Like the only light is the light that's kind of coming in from the hatch above, and once everybody is down, Lithari just kind of says out loud, "It's all right. Don't worry about it. They're friends." And just like that, like the forge just kind of ignites, and various grates in the pipe just kind of like light up with flame, just like illuminating the entire room. And yeah, it is just kind of like a small underground basement chamber with the big brass forge in the back, and walls lined with just various swords.
Holy fuck! What?
Are you sure you gave up swordsmithing?
These are all just keepsakes.
I raise an eyebrow because
Do you have a sentient forge?
I think Lithari laughs and she says, "Oh, why don't you introduce yourself, Kadriza?"
So from underneath the lower part of the forge, almost like a molten head sort of begins to like bubble up.
What the
holy
fuck?
shit.
And sort of like peering timidly out from behind the edge of the forge, appears a face. It says, "Who are these?"
"Oh, these are just some old friends. They can be trusted. You don't need to worry about them."
The head sort of like roils about in the place a little nervously and sort of says, "If you say so."
"Everyone, this is Kadriza."
Cadusa? Say?
Yeah, she takes a little bit to warm up to strangers, but
Oh my god, the pun.
Okay. Elizabeth probably genuinely looks like she's just gotten everything she ever asked for on Christmas. Like the child where she says, "I want a unicorn," and then actually gets a unicorn. And she just goes, "Holy shit, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen."
So. Oh, well, I guess nice meeting you. Never really talked to,
A fire.
yeah. So I have this weird feeling that it's not going to be the last time.
The head sort of flattens out and then stretches back up again and says, "Not just a fire."
Yeah, do I have any idea what Kadriza is?
Yeah. Roll me an Arcana check with advantage.
Ooh.
Yeah. This is definitely a fire elemental.
Okay then.
Although
Elizabeth- This is cool.
it's important to note that this is a because you have the ability to summon elementals
Yes.
and bind them. This is an unbound elemental, but it is still controlled,
Oh.
which is there's nothing binding it or restraining it, but it is, for want of a better
It's not-
word, behaving itself.
yeah, it's not burning anything down.
Yeah, like an unchained fire elemental should be consuming everything it can get its hands on.
But yeah, she helps me out around the forge, keeps the house warm.
I'll bet you've got a fire elemental in your basement. This is so cool.
Oh. I guess, yeah, it's basically like the nicer way of doing what the Duergar did.
I mean, yeah, Elizabeth is going to do the thing Elizabeth always does, which is start speaking in primordial.
Okay.
Because, elemental dialects. And she'll just, bow and say, It's a pleasure to meet you, Kadriza." He'll be like, I'm Elizabeth.
The flame like pulls back up a little bit and then sort of like roils forward again, and sort of says, "Not many speak this tongue, at least not here. Who then are you?"
I'm a Ganassi. One of my parents is a genie.
Strange. I have heard of such kin, but never seen one before.
Yeah, I've never seen another either.
Yeah, I think Lithari kind of like chimes up and she says, "Oh, look at you, Katrisa, making friends already." And she kind of like leans over to Arya and just kind of whispers, she's like, "She doesn't get out of the house very much."
Arya kind of looks at her like, yeah, I would expect not.
So, is there work to be done, perhaps?
Yes, I believe my friends here are in the market for some very special weapons.
The elemental
Hopefully
sort
we can help
of
them out.
rolls around in the grate quite happily.
Ooh. Hey, Grim, do you still have that metal in the bag?
Might still have a small amount. We didn't have much of it. Yeah, I can just hold about. Just try holding it upside down and thinking about it, because I'm not gonna wait. Actually, before I do that,
Is it stone
This-
floor?
we don't
Yeah.
want to. We don't want to just drop this ore anywhere.
Yeah, we want to put it somewhere it's not going to start a fire.
Or anything.
Well, do you have a place I could drop it for now, Lithari?
Yeah, I think she has like an anvil down here or something
Yeah.
that she even put.
It would make sense.
Yeah, like I assume so. And I'll just empty the, or like, it's not empty the bag, but like,
Yeah, you
yeah,
turn the bag upside down and think elemental brass, and it goes dunk. Yeah, there's still like an ingot and a half worth of elemental brass in the bag of holding.
Yeah, I think Lithari kind of just like immediately recognized it. Just go, "Oh, I see you had held on to some of it."
yes. Well, like I had great plans, but you know, plans don't always come to fruition.
Well, I'm certain that I can make great use of this. I must say I was a little bit I had to use all of mine constructing Katrisa her home here. But I had always imagined what a blade of this would look like.
Well, I guess you finally get to find out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she says, "So, when are you planning to make use of such a weapon?"
I think we're gonna admit, haven't quite thought this 100% through yet, but depending on how confident we feel, we might.
Us not thinking through things?
Like,
This
depending-
lines up with your previous experiences, Lithari.
We've
We
got
might
a
give
lot
the
going on.
Yeah, we might give the dragon another shot after we come back. We do have some stuff, some like minor things to take care of on the way back.
We're not taking on the dragon without help, though. That's, well, That's the reason we're here.
Yeah.
We're not going to ask you to fight a dragon.
I
Well,
think
you say that.
I mean, if you want to, we're not going to immediately say no.
Well, I will admit, dragon slaying has been one thing on my bucket list I've yet to cross off.
Who has to slay a dragon on their bucket
I'd-
list?
I'd imagine so, given how long they've been dormant.
Besides, well, even though you don't really forge that much anymore, I'm sure the dragon would provide some interesting opportunity. Or
What, do you think she's gonna capture this dragon and then haul its ass back here to light her
No.
furnace for her?
It's not even
I
that
was-
kind of dragon.
What?
I was
Yeah.
more thinking along the lines of, dragon scales and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I have a hunch that this dragon is not gonna surrender.
No. What?
Definitely not.
And even if it does, well, actually, if it does, I don't know what we do.
I
That
don't
would
think
be
so.
like the move that I'm not prepared for, but we'll find out.
Okay, so you make a sword, go back to the forest, and the dragon says, "Please don't kill me." What do you do?
I wish the dragon would say that.
Please go north to where nobody cares, and
Please find a forest which is inhabited by none of the mortal humanoid races.
well, actually, we know a nice island. It's not.
Oh yeah!
Oh my god.
I don't know if that is like suitable for dragon hunting though.
I doubt it.
It's
No,
definitely
definitely
not big
not.
enough to sustain a dragon that is that large.
Also, it just had a volcanic eruption, so most of the food sources are probably dead.
Yeah. That would be a horrible idea.
We'll cross that hurdle when we get there.
Till then, I guess you were speaking of a blade. A blade would probably be for the best. I was thinking we perhaps could use some arrowheads, but
Hmm.
we'll figure something out.
Harder to recover.
As well, if you are seeking a weapon from a master bladesmith, I'd hope you would purchase a blade, or I hope you would ask for a blade.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have an idea. Just out of character, how long would it take to make like a magic weapon?
That would depend on what materials you have, or what materials you can obtain, and how well you do on skill checks. But you're definitely looking in the region from a handful of weeks.
Okay.
Well, I think most of the stuff we're doing is on a weekly
Yeah.
scale now. So
Also, thinking out of character for a second, working on the assumption that Elizabeth spent a decent chunk of the rests on the week's travel over here, going through the large pile of books that we recovered. Did any of them? Is there a chance that any of them mentioned enchantment?
There are a number in the school of enchantment, not specifically like weapon enchantment, but the philosophy is the same.
I mean, yeah, because she'd still bring up because Elizabeth would probably reach out to Grim and say, "Grim, can I borrow the bag for a sec?"
sure.
And swiftly pull out every book that she can remember was about enchantment, the school of enchantment.
Oh wait, we already dropped all those off in your room. Remember?
Oh, did we drop all of them off?
Yeah, because we're we have to empty the bags. We basically filled
Oh
it.
god, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Damn it.
So you have a handful.
I
Okay.
had also some that I just have been carrying for Elizabeth, so I imagine that Clarice totally forgot she had them until Elizabeth
Oh.
was like, "Damn, I don't have books." And I was like, "Oh, JK, I have some books for you."
Yeah, she's just like, "Oh no, I left most of the books. I left most of the books at the keep."
And Lithari would know like the practice of it, just wouldn't have the ability to perform
Yes.
it.
Yeah, you can walk her through it.
Yeah. So
When
I think Lithari would say, I wouldn't worry about it, dear. All I need is just a little bit of magic. And I can help you with the rest.
Are you sure? I don't mind reading. I do it a lot. It's what I spent the last 7 years doing.
I mean, if you like reading, I won't stop you.
But perhaps this is a chance to earn some of that experience.
Exactly. Applied research.
But otherwise, I think it would take upwards of a few weeks to complete this for you, if that's all right.
Oh, like I feel like we have a lot to take care of before we want to face that thing again. So that wouldn't be that big of a problem.
And it gives us time to wait for that save.
If this was a more urgent matter, I'd offer to let you borrow one of my older keepsakes, but I feel like this calls for a bespoke instrument.
Much as
Well, we definitely don't want to dawdle. I mean, it is a dragon. It is kind of terrorizing a small town at this point.
we kind of rushed into it head first once. I don't imagine doing the same thing twice will go well. So yeah.
No. I mean, I think at this point it is better for us to take the time that we need to get the resources that we need together. As much as I also want to head back quickly.
Also, with any luck, the dragon's taking its time going, geez, don't want to run into people like them again.
That's presumptuous.
I know it's presumptuous, that's why I said with any luck.
I will say from a mechanical standpoint as well, anything that you make from scratch with the express purpose of being enchanted will be significantly stronger than trying to enchant something that's already been created.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There is one thing that I haven't done that I should maybe have done when we were back at my parents' place. So I feel like my old chain vest needs an update. But whilst we wait for the weapon to be done, perhaps we could people can get some of their own stuff done.
Yeah, there are plenty of armor smiths in town, I believe. I'm sure with my recommendation they'd be happy to help you out with anything.
Don't know if any of you have anything that needs doing.
No, not really.
Guess that will just. I guess that will just means we're gonna have to sit it out for now. As annoying as that is.
Yeah, I mean, related to our waiting, may it be a good idea if the first time I tried enchanting an item wasn't the thing that we're relying on to help us fight a dragon.
That is probably a good
Do you
idea,
wanna-
yeah.
Try it with something else?
Depends on how expensive it is, I guess. But
Well, I mean, that's probably something we can practice on.
I'm just getting flashbacks to Minecraft enchanting and how fucking annoying it is.
Yeah.
But I hope there's a lapis lazuli store nearby.
I know.
We're gonna need a lot of
yeah, nowadays, yeah.
I could help you out with that. It'll take me a while to get the blade ready for you, but in the meantime, I can walk you through the basics of it.
That would be greatly appreciated.
Well, actually,
Oh.
what's the...
And I may have to introduce a friend.
Oh?
Oh,
And yeah, Elizabeth will summon from the little pocket dimension that she's been hiding in this whole time. Scar. Insert pseudo dragon in Elizabeth's hands.
Yes. A small pseudo dragon appears in Elizabeth's hands.
She says, "This is Scarlet."
Oh, how adorable. Wow. And she, like, Lithari just kind of like walks over and like, may I pet them?
I mean, Elizabeth would just look to Scarlet to let Scarlet decide. Because Scarlet's an intelligent creature who can make her own choices.
Yes.
She's an independent dragon who don't need no man.
Scarlet just sort of like flicks her tongue and projects like a couple of images, just like unsure, careful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the fun thing. She could just say she doesn't have to convey that through me. She could just say that straight to Lithari.
No, but she says it to
Ah.
you because you're asking her the
okay.
question.
Okay, fair enough. In that case, yeah, Elizabeth will look to Lithari and say, she says be careful.
Oh, well, in that case, I don't want to bother her. But she's a lovely little one.
Oh yeah, Lyra's big now. Does she notice that Lyra has
Oh
grown?
yeah, Lyra's very big.
Well,
Yeah,
Lyra probably cannot get down the trapdoor into the basement, so
It's
it's
true.
Yeah,
We
unfortunately.
would have seen her upstairs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Lithari probably would have had a similar interaction with
Yeah.
Lyra.
Yeah, probably.
She would have done the like grandma, like, look how much you've grown sort of
yeah.
But with a wolf.
but with a wolf.
I think Lithari is still the only person who Lyra has allowed to pet her.
I know.
Yep.
Except for me.
Although I will say, if we're going to stay down here, I should probably roll my sleeves up because it's so warm.
Yeah, apologies for that. Katritza likes it a little bit warmer.
What a shock.
So Elizabeth's probably promptly like taking off gloves and rolling sleeves up because, geez.
I mean, it's
The-
quite nice, really.
The flame in the forge rises up and then sort of like compresses down with like a shh, 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 shh.
God.
Which is also as well the perfect time to be like, look at the swirls on Elizabeth's arm, which are very rarely out. Because she always has long sleeves. Blue swirls all over the skin.
Okay.
Which are also kind of on her cheeks.
So I guess that is the beginning of a training montage between Elizabeth and Lithari.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think first of all, Lithari would like recommend like a local. Would apologize that she doesn't have a place for them to stay, but would recommend like a local inn of some sort.
Yeah.
And also offered to like put them up, like pay for the.
We're good. Got plenty of money.
But yeah, is there anything the rest of you want to do while this is happening? Grim, I know there's something you want to do, but
Well, like there's two things and one thing I wanted to tell the others because like unless Kelariis and Arya have something else they want to do, or they can do it at the same time, I guess. Could you guys try and figure out a way to maybe hold down the dragon, stop it, or
Stop it
like-
from flying?
yeah, like my first instinct was just a ballista as a chain. However,
That's pretty
a
hard to do.
ballista is massive, expensive, and it's going to take a long ass time, and it's probably just going to get destroyed.
Yeah, we'd only get one shot.
So if you guys could think of something, that would be great.
I think trying to immobilize a dragon is probably going to be near impossible.
Well, like you seem to be having a decent time with your arrows.
Yeah, but that's
Arrows
just
don't
shooting
do
at it,
right,
not
yeah.
immobilizing it.
It's not immobilizing. However, like just anything that helps is is a good idea.
I-
Have some sort of magical means of doing it. I think we're going to be hard pressed to find the capability of doing that with just us, like
Ah, yes.
fighting it.
I will say, Arya, as a proficient hunter, you've never hunted a dragon before, but you've hunted things that can fly, and very often the key to hunting the things that that can fly is catching them unawares in terrain that is not suitable for them to fly in, or conditions where flying is difficult. It's easier to hunt a bird in the rain than it is in an open field.
Just trying to think of what conditions that would be with a dragon. I mean, unless
Well,
we like got it in like a low ceilinged area.
Yeah, enclosed forest.
Yeah.
Perhaps
That's part of the thing that you can consider in research, though.
Oh, and there was one other thing that I realized maybe a little late, which I would need Elizabeth's help for.
Oh.
See, I realized I asked my sister to make healing potions.
Hmm.
However, what we really need is potions that can help us resist poison damage.
Hmm.
I don't know if she could do such a thing. However, if she could pull that off, that would
She-
give
she
us a
is-
great advantage.
She is not an alchemist.
Wait, no, my sister, not yours.
Oh, right, yeah.
I think he wants you to send a message to his sister to ask for that as well.
Oh.
Yes,
Okay.
because I asked her to make healing potions, but I realized later that
Yeah.
poison resistance would be, whereas something to deal with poison would be a million times better.
Yeah.
I can
um,
also cast protection from poison, because it's not concentration, and I would just have to do it on each of us individually, which would eat up a lot of spell slots.
Well, it's definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
But I can do that. And if we know that we want that ahead of time, that's something that I can be sure to like prep going in.
But I have also just remembered that in order for our safe plan to work, Elizabeth needs to copy a spell,
You do.
and that's
we
gonna
also
fucking
yeah.
cost a lot.
Yes. Well,
we also need a tuning fork for that, right?
Oh yeah, we
Oh,
need we
yeah.
need tuning forks as well. That's another thing to bring up.
we need so many things.
I know.
Yeah, we really do.
Second
To be
age
fair- to be
goes
fair,
broke.
To be fair, this is probably something Elizabeth would like forget about and then remember, like as everyone's about to leave.
Yeah.
So she's probably just like, "Oh, I just remembered another thing." This is gonna sound really weird, but it's for a spell. We need really expensive forked rods as well.
Oh no, you did mention it during our what's it called meeting.
Yeah, but I haven't mentioned it around Lithari yet, so
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. I have been asked to make Stranger Things recently.
yeah. Because basically, if I have 250 gold tuned forked rods, I can attune them to a plane and use them to teleport.
Well, that's certainly something.
So a couple of those would be nice. Because I can attune one to this plane and then, yeah, you can pretty much go anywhere.
Yeah, I should be able to do that, no problem. For something that simple, normally I wouldn't charge, but for the expensive material, I think I will need some money to cover the costs.
I don't think that should be a problem. Looks at Grim.
We don't expect you to cover any of the costs. To be it would be unreasonable right now. Besides, like now that we can afford it, I'd rather pay you. And then if we can't afford it, I'd be happy if you'd lend us a favor. You know what I mean?
Oh, don't be mistaken. This is, you always have a favor with me.
Thank you very much.
Oh god, where's the bit? Ah, here it is. Yeah. Because yeah, if I'm gonna be copying this spell from the book we borrowed, how much do I need again? Oh my god, I need 14 hours and 350 gold.
Jesus Christ.
Well, considering we're spending weeks currently. I think.
Yeah, the 14 hours is not the
Yeah.
big investment.
No, but we
not
do
at
need
all.
350 gold worth of fine inks.
I'm just gonna start like adding up all the gold costs that we
Yeah.
wanna,
Well,
because that it's gonna
I
be
was
easier.
I was going to say, do we want to use this opportunity to take a break? We can do some maths in the break, and then
That would be great because I have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I was saying.
and
Yeah,
also
let's not...
begin thinking about what it is that you want to make, because you have a lot of potential to make pretty much anything you want here.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's not make Dave sit through our bad maths once again.
Yes, poor Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Sorry,
our loyal
Dave.
Viewer. Our loyal viewer, Dave.
I forgot
Stop.
about Dave.
No, how could you forget about
How
Dave?
did you forget about our one viewer?
Man,
Right. Well, we're on break.